Mike's Daily Podcast.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I am Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton, the last place on earth. And we are here and we are full of mirth. It's episode 2634, 2634. I implore you to tell your friends about the show. That way people find out about Mike's Daily Podcast. And we're all happy, and it's great. That's great because you need to compliment your mirror.
Daily
It's National
Podcast.
Compliment Your Mirror Day, probably today, if you are listening to this show. On the 3rd, I think it is. Yes. So, hello, mirror on the wall. You look dang good. Who's the awesomest person of all? You! No, you. You are. So do that. It's also National Eat Your Beans Day. What? Why is that a day? You know, I'm growing beans. Yes, and I actually grew, because my name is Jack, because I stuck this bean in the ground and it started growing. It took a while, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing these little vines popping out of the ground. And they're vining all over the place. It's amazing. I might even stick up a little framework for it to go on so I can lead it certain directions and go along some kind of what do you call it? Rafters? Scaffolding, something like that. It's also International Drop a Rock Day. Don't understand that, but that is a day you drop a rock. Maybe it's to prove that there's gravity. I guess that's important. Without gravity, we'd be messed up.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Yeah, when they're in space, they realize things are messed up without gravity. What's going on out here in space? So the podcast picture, we're going to go back in time and see a picture from the late great Basil the Boxer. I'm feeling like we're going to find one from way back. So see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Yes. Boxers are awesome. They're a little bit of work when it's hot. Got to try and keep them in the shade. Try and keep them hydrated. Those poor guys. I feel so bad for them in the heat. But that's what you have to do. So
this is interesting.
Wow, this is interesting.
Amazon apparently duped their users into getting Prime. The FTC filed a lawsuit alleging that Amazon violated consumer protection laws by manipulating millions of customers into signing up and staying signed up for its $139 a year Prime service. $139. Now, my lovely lady friend has it, and she gets stuff fast. She's ordered stuff and gotten it the same day. I was like, wait, what? How is that? Well, why would you ever leave the house? But yes, it's also what we use to watch a lot of TV, because we got the addition of BritBox, which I guess is another $9. And we're watching all these British shows we like. I guess if you're into the regular Prime, there is so much stuff on Amazon Prime, and it's great to watch it because there's no ads unless you get I guess there is an ad tier now, but
Live and Loco.
you can watch all these old movies that maybe you would sit through a bunch of ads to watch on regular TV. Well, the lawsuit claims Amazon did this by making it harder for customers to buy products without a Prime membership. Also utilizing dark patterns, quote unquote, to convince users to enroll in Prime without their consent, and designing a cancellation process that took 6 clicks, which was referred to internally as the Iliad Flow, a reference to Homer's doorstop epic poem. Wow. The lawsuit accused Amazon leadership of being complicit in the company tricking and trapping customers, saying that they slowed or rejected changes that would have made it easier for users to cancel Prime. And it's just not Amazon as well. The FTC proposed rule changes in March that would require companies to make canceling a subscription as easy as signing up for one. Thank you, FTC, because that has been an F-you-know-what, see, so forth, for a lot of people, mess.
Fair and unbalanced.
It's just as easy to make a website user-friendly as well as being un-user-friendly. If you don't think about the intuitive, I try to make my wonderful website intuitive, user-friendly. I mean, what's the deal? It's just a podcast. You can go back and listen to past podcasts. You can listen to past interviews. I try and make it very easy and ways to see the podcast picture.
Baloney.
And everybody listening to this has either thought about making a website or has done something like one of these social media pages where you got to set that up. You're like your own webmaster there when you're doing that. The days of spending an hour on the phone to cancel that subscription you signed up for impulsively may soon be over. Alleluia. And then the CEO of Ford said Tesla's Cybertruck, yes, the Cybertruck, he said that is only for Silicon Valley people. I like that quote because I noticed that living in Podcaster Valley, very close to Silicon Valley, and then I drive to Fremont every day for my job, and I'm thus much closer there to Silicon Valley. And yes, you see so many Teslas. My parking lot is full of Teslas in the afternoon because there's this school, this private school for young elementary kids that these parents come to pick them up, and it's a parade of Teslas. It's kind of annoying. I just heard in Arizona, there's this place that's known for RVs. This spot in Arizona, I forget the name of it, Quartzsite, something like that. It is now full. Tesla's in the process of building a huge, over 100 chargers, a big lot. Because it's going to be a thing. It's going to become more and more easy to travel across the country if you have an electric car. That's the way the future is going. Which I dare say, as we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro, Valentino, the last place on earth. There was a time, about 20 years back, where it looked like electric cars were being killed. There was a Republican in the presidential chair, and the Republicans had control.
Ain't life grand?
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews. Awesome.
And therefore, a lot of car makers gave up on electric cars. But Elon Musk, to his credit, kept on working at it. And now we've got to the point where Elon Musk's way of doing things, Tesla's way of doing things, is now how electric car makers have to go. They have to use his charging stations. They have to make it so cars can get charged easily by his equipment so that he provides. So Jim Farley said Ford wasn't threatened by the EV maker's upcoming EV pickup, adding that he made trucks for real people who do real work. And true, in the end, it is, well, the world in which we live. We have... We're based on gas, everybody. Right now, anyway. Speaking of Fremont, by the way, that there is a recent report called United States of Bill Pay, How Americans Pay Their Bills. Fremont said the average Fremont household pays $3,728 a month, which is higher, 82.2% higher than the national average. On essential bills, I should clarify. So Fremont paying over $3,000, the rest of the country paying around $2,000. That's the average. Residents of Fremont most commonly pay their bills on Friday. I don't know if that differs much from the rest of the country. The time of day most residents of Fremont pay their bills is, interestingly enough, at 11 a.m. So just before lunch, they're paying their bills. And residents of Fremont most often use debit cards as their payment method for bills. And that's shocking because debit cards, all kinds of risk involved with debit cards. Although, yes, you do not have to worry about, I didn't pay that bill, now I gotta owe, and I'm owing on the interest, etc. But at the same time, debit cards, they're just, wow. People can just get in and take your money. I know the banks have put more precautions on that kind of thing, but still, that makes me nervous. The average payment in Fremont for a mortgage was around $3,161. For rent, the average payment in Fremont is $2,607. People are paying, as an average, $621 for what? Paying it on their auto loans. And they're paying about $400 in utilities altogether. They're paying about $88 in auto insurance a month. I'll have to check what I'm doing. $175 for cable and internet. Ooh. Now, there is a way... Oh, I bumped my head today. Ow. I just touched the top of my bald head. I banged into a branch with my head today. Ouch. It's amazing I didn't wake up in medieval times at King Arthur's court, a la a Mark Twain novel or something. But yeah, I hit my head hard today. Ouch. Watch your head. You're going to miss that when it's gone. Dang. And $214 in your cell phone bills. That's what they're spending money on their cell phone. About $214 a month. Interesting. So that came from United States of Bill Pay, How Americans Pay Their Bills, and insights.doxo.com. But you know what? What? We're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valentino, the last place on earth. Look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? Here's my horse.
That's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
I was wondering what that big old gash was on your head. You're like head wound Mike today.
Yeah, well, it was so hot, and it was hot today, and I'm not quite all together there, and I'm going to hit a branch when that happens, so. But, I didn't fall out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. I'm okay with that. I'm confident with that, and I compliment my mirror on that. Look who else is here.
Oh, Mike, I make the delicious root beer. Have some on
Thank you, Brewmaster. Wow. Oh, I'm gonna drink your root beer. That's so good. What's in it?
Peppermint.
Oh. I'm not the biggest fan of peppermint, but okay. Thank you. I'm going to have to start changing things on my website, because on my website I say, hey, if you want to listen to the show on Spotify, click here. Well, clicking here has become synonymous with, viruses. If you see something that says click here in any emails you get, well, don't do it. Delete it. Get rid of it. You don't want a virus. So I might change the phrasing on that. But you know what time it is now, everybody. Hey, kids. It's time.
Drink it right now, can't you?
I mean, thank you. I did. It had peppermint in it. Remember that whole thing we just did? All right. It is time now for Let's Go Back with Matthews. Let's go back with Matthews. Yeah. So once upon a time, radio was cool. Radio was inventive. Radio was interesting. Radio was all kinds of fun formats and radio stations like K-Hay and Ventura allowed Mike Matthews, who at that point went by Matt Michaels, to do whatever he wanted in the evening, but also play requests and play country music. And it was the hot country at the time. 20 years ago, I was playing the Alan Jacksons, Shania Twain, Trace Adkins, Toby Keith, Vince Gill. Who else was big in 2002, 2003, around there? Gary Allen, Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw. So I was playing Alabama, playing all those Faith Hill, Martina McBride, and Shania Twain, not so much at that point. But yes, I want to play you a little clip of how crazy I used to be on the radio and how fun radio used to be. Please listen and enjoy.
JY and CD.
There you go, Old Red. Blake Shelton, that's from his album that's got Austin on it, his debut album. Leanne Womack, Ashes by Now. Before that, Colin Ray on the way next. We'll get to Alan Jackson and more of your requests and dedications at 650-KHAY, the KHAY Cafe question. What's the worst thing you ever got caught doing? Oh, my God.
One time, I got caught stealing a cookie from the cookie jar.
Oh.
And donuts. I stole some donuts.
Sure.
Oh, man. And one time he stole my purse.
Gee, I didn't see that coming.
People, settle down. Okay.
Yes, there were people doing Simpsons impressions in 2002. And they're still around 20 years later. How are those voice actors even still alive doing The Simpsons? Dang. It has gotten different. Well, I don't know if they're still alive at this point with the writer's strike. I don't think they're making any more episodes. But yes, we had fun with that at that time. Have I watched a lot of Simpsons? I get that question asked a lot. Mike, you do those impressions from The Simpsons. Do you like? No. I couldn't tell you one character from the next. I know there's some guy named Krusty. I think there's a little kid named Bart. Other than that, I'm ignorant.
Today is Santa Fe Cafe time, 10:48. We're going to get to Shenandoah, Trick Pony, Kenny Rogers new one, John Michael Montgomery, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill. This is Colin Ray. Couldn't last a moment.
Matt Michaels, KHAY, Ventura, Oxnard, Santa Barbara.
This summertime, and you can really tell that because, heck, there's a song in the top 10 of the country charts about driving riding a motorboat on the lake. That one there, Alan Jackson. We also have a fishing song by Brad Paisley. I mean, everything you need. Right here on 100.7 KHAY, the KHAY Cafe question tonight. What's the worst thing you ever got caught doing? And, John Deere, the engineer.
Hi, Matt. I really need to right now work with that microphone.
Okay, but what I'm asking you is, what was the worst thing you got caught doing? Quit touching my microphone! Am I allowed to say that on the air?
Matt, I've never done anything wrong. Or have I been caught? I gotta go. Bye, Matt.
All right. It's Kenny Chesney right now.
Ordinary, no. Really don't think.
That was John Deere, the engineer. He was on the last podcast. We were talking about 4th of July stuff.
Rounds with Jose Cuervo, you nuts? Oh my gosh, I get hangovers bad with that much. Jose Cuervo, the KHAY Cafe question tonight. What's the worst thing you ever got caught doing? It's 100.7 KHAY, Matt Michaels. I'm at the KHAY Santa Fe Cafe, and I'm actually hanging out with Fernando Tony Lamas.
Matthew, darling, thank you. Welcome to Nando's Hideaway, darling, where everybody looks good. Ooh, marvelous is what I'm telling everybody, Matthew. Is crazy go nuts. What happened to the microphone, Matthew?
John Deere was messing around with it.
Oh, Matthew, that's bad. I can tell. A little electricity. I'm thinking, perhaps. Matthew, darling, but marvelous.
Interesting.
Why is that interesting?
I don't feel marvelous. But I'll get over that. It's time to Dare to Dream with Jody Messina, her new one. Oh. How crazy redneck of me. I apologize. Brad Paisley there is 100.7 KHAY. What is the worst thing you ever got caught doing? That is the KH Santa Fe Cafe question. It's Matt Michaels. I'm at the KH Santa Fe Cafe. We're going into the gift shop to see how business is, because that's where we make our money. Our 18-year-old gift shop supervisor, Shelley Schuhart.
Matt Michaels, nobody's buying anything.
No way.
Yeah, Matt Michaels.
Well, how come?
It might have to do with the fact that everything smells like mildew.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
Matt, you never fixed that leak in the gift shop, and you know you kind of need to do that because otherwise it'll smell like meat.
Uh-huh.
Matt Michaels?
I'm confused. Toby Keith. It's you, baby. It's all you. It's 100.7 KHAY. Matt Michaels. I'm at the KH Santa Fe Cafe. The KH Cafe question: what is the worst thing you ever got caught doing? Oh, look who's here.
Good evening. This is Ted Koppel with Nightline. I mean, KHAY line. I can't get used to this, Matt.
All right.
It is very difficult. I find it difficult to say that word.
What, KHAY?
KHAY.
KHAY.
Word.
Why? Dina Carter.
He couldn't say KHAY. Did you notice that? Yes, Ted Koppel. And way earlier than that, over 10 years earlier-ish, I worked at a station called The Bus. And that was interesting. It wasn't country. It was the kind of the rock, classic rock type station. And we had, I was doing part-time there, so just mainly on the weekends. But I really didn't know. I was very confused. It was early on in my radio career, and I didn't know exactly. There was a guy also working there, and for some reason, I just decided to do an impression of that guy. But he was way older than me, and here I am in my 20s, sounding very bizarre.
Sounded like of us, 96.7 Mike Matthews on a Sunday evening with you, 522 right now. Here's one of those artists that's just been getting a ton of recognition lately, and she deserves it. It's Bonnie Raitt. More than oldies of us, 96.7. Yes, we have the new bus bumper stickers in. We want you to stick it and win. Yes, we do. Listen for locations where you can pick up a brand new Bus 96.7 bumper sticker. Your chance to win coming up soon from the Bus. Pope Salad Annie. Tell us all about it, Tony.
Some of y'all never been down south too much. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it.
More than oldies of us, 96.7. Yes, hello, Mike Matthews here. Weather forecast calling for rain throughout tomorrow. Going to be kind of wrapping up, though, by the evening, they say. Highs tomorrow in the 50s, lows tonight in the 40s. Currently, it's 56 at the Bus, 96.7 with Tom Petty. Don't do me like that. Thank you. You know, I got married recently. No, it wasn't one of those weddings. Don't worry. More than oldies of us, 96.7. Lead poisoning is a serious problem, especially amongst those who use Mexican pottery for cooking. Did you know that? The only way to know if pottery or antique ceramics are sources of lead is to have them tested. For information on how you can get your pottery tested, call us on the Bus. Whoa.
That's me getting all flubbed up. And yeah, actually that station, The Bus, gosh, we played some great music, was in Ventura County, as was KHAY. But this station will just jump about 3 years earlier to 1989. I was at the station in Santa Barbara called 197, and it was a top 40 station. So it's fun to hear this because that music, this was still the 80s. So a little bit of that, and I was just turning 20.
Anyway, they will meet They will meet at noon beginning Tuesday, February 7th, and continue for 4 consecutive Tuesdays. For more information about all this, please call 961-3778. That number again, 961-3778, in the public interest for 197.
Raising a child these days, you have to...
Wow, all that public interest stuff. We're doing a lot of PSAs.
To be a child's cook.
Helping out the public. Oh, Laverne!
KHGY Santa Barbara. Hello, I'm Mike Matthews with a 60-minute power play. No, it's much longer than that. With Ron Stewart.
On FM 197.
KHGY 197, John Cougar Mellencamp, ROCK in the USA. Good morning, my name is Mike Matthews. I'm sitting in for Guy Gooden, who's on vacation. That means no Space Pirate Radio this week. Can you believe that? Uh-oh, yes. Oh well, it'll be back in 3 weeks' time. Don't worry, nothing to worry about, no. Here's Tiffany and All This Time, 197. KHGY 197, Steve Winwood holding on. I'm Mike Matthews. It's 3:18, and I'm talking with the Santa Barbara Party Monster. How you doing, Mike?
Pretty good.
Mike, what are you doing right now?
Oh, well, we're calling from a phone booth because we were driving around. We were sort of thinking of, driving until dawn and then going to the beach and catching the sunrise and stuff.
What fun. Of course you have a designated driver, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's completely sober, right?
Definitely. He hasn't been drinking all night. He hasn't really been a party monster, but...
But you have, Mike. You're a party monster.
Of course.
Thank you, Mike.
Sure.
Hello. Hi, I'm back again. Hey, this is Breathe. Don't Tell Me Lies on 197.
Live radio. That song from Breathe was awesome. Remember Breathe? So raise your hands to heaven and pray that we'll be back together someday. Tonight I need your sweet caress. Hold me in the darkness. And I mentioned Guy Gooden there. I don't know if he's still alive. If you do a search for Guy Gooden, I know he's on the internet or he's got a blog or something, but he did this show called Space Pirate Radio for decades. And he was the Santa Barbara institution. People followed him, stayed up late on Sunday night into Monday morning. He stayed on the same station through several format changes. And it was basically alternative, but like 80s alternative, but then also getting into whatever he wanted, the artsy stuff. He was a huge Peter Sellers fan. He apparently knew Brian Ferry personally, which, dang, that must have been cool, because I went to see Brian Ferry just before COVID in Oakland, and that was an awesome show. He still rocks, or whatever you call what Brian Ferry does. He's still Brian...
Mike, he still rocks e-musics really well. So Mikey Fikey.
I'm glad this part of my podcast is at the very end, because I feel a little embarrassed.
This nightmare of a show.
By my delivery at this point. So I'll wrap it up. But thank you for sticking around to the very end and catching some of the Let's Go Back with Matthews segment. And if you'd like to chime in about anything, Santa Barbara, Ventura, old time radio, looking at mirrors, electric vehicles, whatever, you can call me 510-228-4640. And with more ways to reach me, here's Ariel.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This is great.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.